Not a whole lot of investors. It is largely comprised of banks and insurance companies as a CRA investor or a yield investor. And then just kind of showing the evolution of the industry several years ago. The buzzword around all the conferences was ESG, right? So there was a whole kind of new and introduced segment of within those investor pools that were just focused on hitting mission critical kind of corporate ideas of ESG. That, given the political climate, is kind of not necessarily rising to the top. They're still out there, and those folks, if they're looking at two deals apples to apples and one deal's ESG and that hits their mark, they're certainly going to take that one over the other one. So from that perspective, making yourself more marketable to more investors as a developer is always going to give you more placement opportunity. So run the cost benefit. If it makes sense, you can add that in. And then to add a little bit more to the CRA and the yield investors, those investors go into several different types of funds. You can have a multi-fund, which is a mix of yield investors and CRA investors. You can have a proprietary fund, which tends to be more CRA motivated, though you can get yield investors in specific markets. And then you can have regional funds. Like at R4, we have a California fund, we have East Coast fund. So we focus that, and that allows us to target specific investors. And I just want to kind of highlight regarding the regional banks, since the SVB collapsed several years ago, there was a lot of, they didn't pull out, but they certainly pulled back a little bit in their participation in the industry, and that was just due to the Fed and FDIC requiring them to shore up their balance sheets a bit more to make sure there wasn't some sort of contagion on the regional banks. They're coming out of that now, and despite all the headwinds that you're hearing about, I think theoretically, we get a little bit of this uncertainty out, but that could be a really additional player moving forward. So I think that just more equity in the industry is going to do well for the deals.